Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. My name is Melissa. I'm an agency partner manager here at Pinterest. Welcome to my Pinterest 101 and holiday planning. So I've been with Pinterest for 3.5 years. I specialize in agency and Canadian relationships, and I'm excited to be sharing my 101 with you all. So this presentation will take about 25 minutes, and after which I'll have a little bit of time for questions and answers. So just to make myself a little bit more human, I wanted to share with you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Southern California, and I'm currently living in Northern Utah. And here's a picture of my cute little dog, Cujo, and my two beautiful little girls. So let's get started. So here's an agenda of what we're going to cover today. We're going to start off with what is Pinterest, and then we'll move into who's on Pinterest. And that'll include a little bit of like what our audience is like and how we're helping Pinners discover new ideas. And then we'll look into what's popular on Pinterest, what people are searching for, and we'll also do our holiday planning. And that'll wrap up kind of like the first portion of our presentation. And then we'll go into more about like our product offerings. So 2 years ago, Pinterest would have been just more top funnel or awareness. And we're going to discover how that's no longer the case and what you're able to do on our platform. And then after that, I'll take a little bit of time to answer any questions that you may have. So let's start off with the first section. What is Pinterest? And maybe to answer what Pinterest is, we need to establish what we are not. So Pinterest, we don't like to label ourselves as a social media platform because as our CEO says, social media is about sharing what you're doing with others. Pinterest is not about sharing what you're doing with others. It's about your dreams, your ideas, and what you want for your future. So I feel like it's more how search was in the early days, but updated into a beautiful digital platform where it isn't about sharing validations, likes, or Insta bragging. It's about finding what you love, finding ideas, exploring your own options. So people come to Pinterest with a purpose or a task to be done. They want to figure out, where do we go on a weekend trip? How do we redo our bathroom? Or even parenting tips. And from here, Pinners create these maps or intentions through their Pinterest boards. And well, we've become really good at helping Pinners discover new ideas to add to those boards. So Pinterest, our mission here is to bring everyone the inspiration to create a life that they love. And I want to share a quick example of how exactly it helped me in my search for an easy dinner recipe and overall how the journey unfolds. So as previously mentioned, I'm a mother of two adorable, hungry kids. And we all know that after our jobs end, like most parents, I'm always on the hunt for an easy dinner recipe. Sometimes I just don't have the time to make a 5-star meal, especially with the pandemic being at home most of the time. We just want a quick dinner recipe. So the first thing I did was go into my search feed and I found a couple of recipes to save for future reference. And I found that I was being targeted by Smith's grocery store. That's a local grocery store here. And so I clicked on that ad and went into my home feed. And from there, I put some products in my cart and then I picked them up after work. So just like me, people are coming to Pinterest to discover those ideas. They gather and organize them. And then they act on the ideas that they find, which is something that's very self-defining to our platform. And something that I recently found out because of my best friend, which was also my colleague, 57% of weekly pinners have used Pinterest in store while shopping, which goes back to how we act and on the ideas that we gather. So I hope that this helped you guys see overall how the journey typically unfolds for us. People come here in the beginning of their search. We like to say that our pinners are planners. And I love the stat here that says that 97% of our searches are unbranded because it gives everyone a fair playing field when running the campaigns. So hopefully you guys are all using the app to find ideas and inspiration for yourself. Once people start searching for what they want, they start narrowing it down to the brands that they like, the products that they need, or what they're looking for based off of the companies that they found. This is why it's very important to give a clear understanding of what you're promoting to make sure that you guys do well within the auction. And I'll get into that a little bit later. So we talked about what Pinterest is and what Pinterest isn't. So now let's dive into who's on Pinterest. So first of all, who's on Pinterest? Brands and businesses are. Of all of the pins that we have, which is over 300 billion pins on 6 billion boards, 75% of them come from brands and businesses. So to go back to what I said a little bit earlier about Pinterest being different from other platforms, this stat here really makes sense because there's nothing about it where we want to broadcast to other people. We use this to save our ideas for ourselves and not even to increase our usage time in order to build an audience or anything. It's just a personal tool. So if you insert these products and ideas from the stat, and our pinners are able to find exactly what we're looking for. So when it comes to audiences you're trying to reach, yes, they're on Pinterest. And that includes 80% of US moms, 1 out of 2 US millennials, and 46% of high-income households, and 1 out of 4 US men. And here's the bigger picture. We have over 454 million monthly active users on our platform as of July 2021, and that number is still growing very fast. 50% of our users are international and account for many of our new signups. 80% of all of our pinners are on mobile. And as I mentioned earlier, we have over 300 billion pins on 6 billion boards, and we look at each pin as an idea from one of our pinners. A common misconception people have about Pinterest is that men don't really dabble with our platform. So here's some stats on men and what they typically do on here. 71% of men on Pinterest say that they love trying new brands. 74% of men say they look at Pinterest to help them start new projects. And 72% of men say that Pinterest helps them find inspiration for everyday activities. So this is where we're going to do a little bit of our holiday planning. So we saw who is on Pinterest and what it is. Now let's look into what's popular within our platform. These are some of our 2021 traditional seasonal moments. People are always saving for seasonal ideas on our platform, but we see engagement spike at specific points throughout the year for each of the different holidays, as reflected on these bubbles here. And we use this chart to plan for all of these peak advertising opportunities. These are smaller but powerful occasions that allow brands the opportunity to speak directly with consumers on a hyper-relevant level. If you would like more information on our moments, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you guys out. When thinking of these moments, I would like for you to think of them as ideas. When people are searching for pins, they like to see pins that help them plan and tap into their creative side. So always think inspiration. These here are some of our top performing verticals for us. I would dare say that anything that's business to consumer typically does very well for us. Business to business is a little bit trickier, but we can help you when you're ready to strategize. Some of our current benchmarks are as follows. So right now we're seeing an average CPC of 0.33, CPM of 3.76, and a click-through rate of 1.15. And we do expect these benchmarks to increase during Q4 and decrease during Q1. So if you need any vertical specific information as well, feel free to reach out to me and I can send you that information along with the benchmarks. So holidays are a huge part of our planning moments. I would love to take some time to talk to you about our holiday planning moments. Advertisers who take advantage of early holiday shoppers on Pinterest start to see better results. Pinners who were exposed to ads and brands early converted 4.7 times more than pinners who were exposed to ads late. Also, pinners who were exposed to brands early led to a 3.1 time increase in revenue per user than pinners who were exposed to brands late. And finally, advertisers saw a 6% incremental sales lift as a result of this early exposure. So more conversions, more valuable customers, net new sales. Early really does add up. To better understand why we're seeing such great impact, let's dig into the audience opportunity within our platform. Pinners love a good celebration and they love the holidays. They plan earlier than anyone, and Pinterest is where they start to plan. So even before they start searches on other platforms, they come to Pinterest to start off months before. Historically, pinners start to plan for holiday as early as September. Last year, in the midst of the pandemic, they started planning even earlier than ever. As you can see in the graph to the right, they tend to start their searches around July. In the face of COVID-19 and stay-at-home orders, pinners were looking forward to having their holidays to look forward to even more than ever. And when it comes down to it, as much as pinners love experiencing the holidays, planning for them might just be their favorite part. I know that's one of my favorite parts. And this is really something that's unique about our audience. In fact, pinners are 1.6 times more likely than non-pinners to say planning events and celebrations is one of their favorite things about the holidays. They love to figure out how to crack the perfect gifts for their family, thinking about how they're going to make their homes holiday ready, finding the perfect tree, decorating for the holiday theme, finding a perfect recipe for cookies to share with our kids. So they love finding even the ugliest holiday sweater possible to wear to parties. And our pinners are planning ahead, which is half of the fun. And Pinterest is their go-to platform for this planning. And one last little fact on this, 46% of weekly pinners say planning events and celebration is one of their favorite things about the holidays. So especially excited about how this early pinner planning pays off for you. We now have proof that early planning translates to greater spend for the holidays, which makes our pinners an even more valuable audience for you. Based on new recent research, we found that pinners spend more than non-pinners on holiday shopping in 2020, and pinners who plan their holidays early spent the most. So it truly does add up. Reaching early planning and Pinterest means reaching an audience that buys and spends more. More specifically, pinners spend 1.3 times more than non-pinners, and 45% of pinners who start shopping before September 2020 spend $1,000 plus in total for winter holiday season. So that's 1.3 times more than pinners who started planning between October and December. And as we start to emerge from the pandemic, at least in the US, we hear so much optimism and excitement from our pinners we've connected with. We want to make up for more somber and subdued celebrations from last year. If not a revenge holiday, making up for a sad one last year, 8 in 10 have told us that they want to make it bigger and better than ever. So they've already started with their planning. They told us they can't wait to celebrate in real life this year with friends and family. And they're planning to spend more on food, more on drinks, gifts, and travel. And as they're planning to get more festive this year by dressing up, decorating, and hosting more, think of more lights, more parties, and bigger gifts. Pinners love a good celebration. And this year, they're trying to take it up a notch or 5. They want to hear from your brands. Nearly half of our pinners we've connected with say that they want inspiration from brands on how we can make it an even bigger and better holiday than ever before. Be that brand that helps them make it one of the most meaningful holidays ever. These are some of the ideas that people will be pinning this season. What can your brand bring to these idea boards? Make sure to showcase what makes you different. Make sure to showcase what makes your brand unique, and make sure to take advantage of our beautiful search platforms so that this year your brand can be the next big holiday idea. One of the questions that we've received already is, what is the best way for your brand to appear high in the feed on people's searches for the holiday? And that's a very good question. So one thing that I'll say is we're all about relevancy here. We love being relevant to your audience because we put pinners first. So I would say if your brand is like a CPG food brand, make sure that you're targeting those certain interests, choosing keywords that will be relevant to that audience. If you have like a mom and child on a picture, make sure that you're targeting parenting. If it's a recipe, make sure that you include recipes. So make it as relevant to your audience as possible. That's really going to get you the best or make you more relevant within your search. So lastly, on stats, how many pins were saved? We have over 1.2 billion ideas saved during our holiday season last year, 330 million related searches. So if a pinner clicks on a pin that is similar in interest to yours, your pin could also show up as an idea for them. And because of how early planning starts for the holiday season, some brands were preparing our pinners for the holidays as early as June. And here we're going to move into a little bit more of trends. So these moments are some of the most planned out moments during the season. So let's highlight some of the trends that we see. We'll start with Thanksgiving. So during Thanksgiving, from this year and a couple of years already, we've seen a 21% increase in non-traditional Thanksgiving meal ideas, an 11-time increase in hosting Thanksgiving dinners, and 150% increase in Thanksgiving leftover recipes, 17% increase in healthy Thanksgiving side dishes. Our pinners are all about health as well, just so you guys know. And a 3.5-time increase in turkey and sweet potato skillet, and a 60% increase in Thanksgiving pumpkin pie. Who doesn't love a good pumpkin pie? I know I always wait for Costco to take out their pies during September because they're absolutely my favorite. Our top searches for Friendsgiving was Friendsgiving decoration. So we saw a 10-time increase in easy Thanksgiving recipe appetizers, 138-time increase in best Thanksgiving desserts for a crowd, and 65% increase in how to prepare turkey for Thanksgiving. And I'll just say, I can also relate to the last search because when I cooked my first chicken when I was married, I forgot to check the inside of the chicken for packing and cooked it frozen on the inside. I had never done a chicken before, so I learned a valuable lesson that day. And as for me and my friends, we did not eat chicken that day. So preparing is always something that I do now. So into the biggest shopping weekend of the year, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. 98-time increase in stocking stuffers, 3-time increase in gift ideas for gamers. We can't forget our gamers. And 45% increase in Black Friday ideas for small businesses. We also saw a 3.5 increase in checkouts for cosmetic sets. And this increase was not only for those holidays, but also for the week of Black Friday and the week of Cyber Monday. And as well as the 3.5-time increase in checkout for headphones and headsets. And that was also the entire week of Black Friday and the entire week of Cyber Monday. And last but not least, New Year's Eve. So during New Year's Eve, we saw a 276-time increase in New Year's, party decorations. And I know that I'm guilty of that. 106-time increase in party nails for New Year's Eve. 6-time increase in finger foods for New Year's party, 3.5-time increase in New Year's Eve cocktails, and 150-time increase in New Year's manifestations, and 75% increase in Happy New Year cards homemade. So as we conclude our holiday slides, let's lastly focus on some unique holiday moments. These unique, powerful moments allow your brands to connect with pinners in a hyper-relevant way. Use this opportunity to expand traditional audiences and lean into adjacent categories. My favorite here would definitely be the ugly Christmas sweater, because I would have to argue that I own the ugliest ugly Christmas sweater ever. And I always use it for holiday parties and ugly sweater competitions. Okay, so we'll call that part 1 of our deep dive. And awesome, let's dive into what Pinterest has to offer from an ads platform point of view. And we're gonna start off with our Pinterest product offering. Oh, I do have a question, so sorry about that. Does Pinterest sometimes get overlooked as an ad platform? Why does Pinterest stand out? That's a great question. So I would say that in the past, it was, because we were, as I've mentioned, more top of funnel or awareness play. But now with our different campaign types and objectives that you're able to choose from, I definitely would say that it's not one that's overlooked anymore, or at least some brands are starting to see the power of Pinterest. I would definitely look into the vertical that you're in to see specific benchmarks to see if your vertical does well within our platform. And we could definitely help you strategize for whatever your brand is. So we're going to start off with our promoted pin formats. We're going to start off by going through all of our pin types. We'll touch base on these pin types and what some of our best practices are. So we have standard pins. When thinking of standard pins, we do ask that the ad size that you use is 1000 by 1500 pixels. You're able to use square or vertical formats, but vertical ads tend to perform better. Ad space, it's ad space that you paid for, right? So why wouldn't you want to make it the proper ad size? Standard video should follow some of our best practices as we have for standard pins. When pinners are watching videos, they don't watch videos with sound. Although that is an option that's available, I would recommend to always keep that in mind when planning. We've seen that videos that are between 6 to 15 seconds are the most performant. After that, you just start to lose interest. Max width videos are amazing because they take out about 4 pin spaces in feed, making it impossible to miss. We do run this type on mobile only, and campaign types you're able to run max width videos are awareness and video views. So CPM and CPB bidding. Carousel pins give you ability to go in deeper into your story. It allows pinners the ability to dig deeper on each slide, and each of them has their own destination URL. Hero picks should follow standard pin best practices. Collection pins give you the ability to showcase multiple products and collections or variations of the same products. As a best practice, your hero image should follow our standard pin best practice. So each pin could have its own destination URL as well. Lastly, we have our idea pins and our content creators. I love idea pins because our brands, businesses, and creators or influencers are able to inspire us with immersive stories. We do recommend 5+ pages. We do have a drawer or a details button where you can write your steps, details, or supplies needed, or any other inspirational message that you would like to include. And last but not least, shopping pins. So shopping pins bring you your catalog to life, showcasing your products organically and on the paid side. So shopping pins allow pinners to shop directly from your Pinterest product pages. So where do these pins show up? These are a different placement here. We have our browse feed, which is our pinners homepage, and our pins here are based off of past interest, searches, engagements of past pins. And we usually look at it to see things that we've seen before or interests that are similar to what we've searched before. Our search feed is where pins are displayed based off of what we're currently searching, and related pins show up after pins close up, and it provides the user with additional context into what we're currently engaging with. And because we're the home of inspiration, we've done quite a bit of research on what makes our content inspiring. We care so much about understanding inspiration that one of our clinically trained neuroscience members completed an academic study of what makes inspiring content. So it was something that was visually appealing, something that was original, something that was positive, something that was relevant to your audience, and something that's actionable. So this is what's going to help you as well with making sure that your pin shows up in feed. And now if you would like help with a mock-up of what your pin should look like, we do have a creative team in-house that could help you create static video or carousel pins for you for free. We do offer one round every quarter. And if you would like any changes made, we do have one revision. So these are just the 3 ad formats that we can create for you. So just take advantage of that service. And feel free to reach out to me if you would like for us to work with your brand. As far as targeting and audiences, and I'm almost done here, this is just an overview of our capabilities that we can implement when looking at your KPIs. So we have different campaign types that you may want to run, and these are just some of the bid types that you could use and implement. And no matter what type of objective you have, please make sure to include us in your planning so that we can help you find the best performing keywords for the time of year according to your vertical. Most of the objectives are pretty straightforward, but I do want to focus on 2. So driving installs and grow in-store sales. So we don't have an app objective. So if you have an app, we wouldn't just simply choose an app objective. We would have to run it through another campaign type, which would be our conversion campaigns, and we could help you set that up. And then as far as growing in-store sales, this is something that we need to plan months and months ahead. As far as our targeting, these are just some of our targeting capabilities. We have interest, which pretty straightforward, right? And keywords as well. And while on keywords, something important to understand is that we are 100% visual. And most of our keyword searches, or 73% of them, are between 1 and 3 keywords. So this is important to note when it comes down to strategy. And so we do have other capabilities, of course, as far as device, language, gender, and age, as you can see in the middle here, and customer list, engagement, retargeting, visitor and dynamic retargeting, and act-alike targeting, which is comparable to Facebook's lookalike audiences.